Just be upset.
However, yes, if you pick that up,
I would. That doesn't scare me.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, like, I heard next time he grew up in a synagogue, so he just like knows how to find the things. But I don't know where he can choose cups. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Maybe small.
How's this here?
Hello. I don't know where he can go, at least
I will find
I couldn't find any. We didn't get juice, so I found wine and put it in a cup, but I don't know where we keep the tea cups. There's no tea cup. Leftover old sugar packets.
Life is tough.
On the way.
Oh, you have more?
I have this. Right? You want to get us started on these items? It's time, you know?
I don't know.
Yeah. It is time.
This is
Page 10.
still moving. Here, and everyone would just have to visit all these switch. But I like the starting at 2. You can be my 2 people. Page 10.
Shalom.
Please rise as you're able. We're on page 21. Please rise This Shabbat, and for the week to come, we're remembering the following martyrs in our community. Maurice Epstein, Mildred Weisenthal, Miriam Fine, Fanny Rosen, Katie Capital, Rowena Fox, Melba Gould, Saul Robert Slotnick, Louis Tannenbaum, Robert Alexander, Alan Brazell, Joe Cohen, Eleanor Edelstein, Edward Oceans, Nanette Walter, Adele Wolf, Jeff Frisch, Malcolm Isaacs, Louise Itelbaum, Ida Marks, Barry Rayhoff, Philip Rubin, Harry Grant, Boris Kunin, Samuel Menaker, Hannah Sugar, Shirley Bogoslawski, Melvin Fisher, Elsie Forshaw, Samuel Glass, Martin Milstein, Henry Rice, Louis Scheinberg, Pam Solomon, and Harry Tulmo. We keep all of those names in mind as we rise together from one Scottish beach. There is a saying that when you're a hammer, everyone looks like So this might be, if you're imagine being a hammer, which is first hard to do, but if you're the sort of person who is always looking for nails to smash, it might be that everyone around you kind of has a nail-like appearance. Or maybe more emotionally, if you're someone who's easily irritated, it might feel like everyone around you is always trying to pick a fight with you. Or if you're someone who's very sneaky, it might feel like all the people who are around you are people who are trying to cheat you. And in our parsha for this week, in Vayetze, we see quite a bit of Jacob's story. And you might say that Jacob, a guy who is always making deals, to him, everyone around him looks just a little bit crafty. He makes a deal with his brother for some suit for his birthright. He exchanges a stew for a blessing. Jacob clearly knows the terms of a deal. He's able to barter. He can sneak in and negotiate and get what he wants. But it also turns out that all the people he encounters in his life take this somewhat sneaky, wily, you might say, negotiating stance with him. Famously, then he finds the woman he loves, but his father-in-law sneaks in the other daughter and says, if you work for me for 7 more years, you can get the one that you love. He's constantly in negotiations about which sheets will be his, where he can live, how much will be paid. So maybe in some way, Jacob is this paradigmatic character showing us that when you're someone who operates in a certain way, maybe you'll start to see that people around you behave like that as well. Now, this is a way to read this is a little bit unfavorite to Jacob. I'm saying Jacob's a little bit sneaky, so all the people he meets look a little bit sneaky to him. And there are so many ways that we project our own tendency in life to think that we know how someone else could live their life better from the outside, maybe lacking a sort of compassionate understanding of where they're coming from. You could also tell this story entirely fairly, as Jacob was a smart, resilient guy who faced a lot of challenges, a father who disfavored him, a mother who pushed him forward to seek a birthright, and a father-in-law who seemed, well, pretty sneaky himself. But if you read together with our parsha and this idea of Jacob, the guy who's saying it's a hammer, swim around and look like a nail, a sneaky man who then saw everyone else around him as being a little bit sneaky. If you read it next to our Haftarah from Hosea, it does look a little bit like maybe Jacob has this tendency towards mirma, towards wiliness, or cunning, or even deceit. The Haftarah says that God is upset with the Jewish people. Ephraim surrounds me with deceit, and the house of Israel with cunning. And so maybe there is this warning there. There's a character trait of Jacob that carries through a sneakiness, a consistency, a desire to make deals, to barter with everyone. And we see it even come out between Jacob and God. So in our parsha, Jacob has this famous dream. He's got a rock pillow. He imagines a ladder leading between him and heaven. And at the top of the ladder, he has a conversation directly with God. And God says, don't worry, Jacob, I'll be there. I'll be there to protect you as you go to Haran and eventually return back to Canaan. And what does Jacob do? He wakes up in the morning and he says, wow, if God protects me, I'll come back and I'll build a temple here and I'll tithe to God. So reading that in my lens, it might look to the reader maybe a little bit unfavorable. Here you have Jacob who's received a blessing straight from God, and he can't, to a certain extent, just take the blessing as a blessing. He sees it as this opportunity, or he takes it as a moment when he needs to make a deal. If God holds up his end of the bargain, if God follows through, if God makes sure I'm safe, then I'll build a temple here in Bethel, and I'll be sure to tithe. And so you can start to take this maybe as a sense of a warning or an awareness for us. If even our patriarch Jacob sees God as making deals, having this sort of bartering, a back and forth, fine, God, you protect me and I'll build a temple here, in what ways do we see, project on others some of our own character traits? First, you have to bear with me and accept that I'm saying Jacob is sneaky, But clearly something is being projected onto God here. When God comes in the text with a blessing, and Jacob sees, I need to strike a deal. My mom used to, we have a family joke. Whenever we would go to the beach, she would wear her favorite beach sunglasses. They were rose-colored glasses. I'm not joking, literally rose-colored. My brother and I were particularly pale. And usually about 20 minutes into our time at the beach, my mom would say, oh my gosh, kids, you're sunburned. You have to put on sunscreen. And we would say, Mom, take off your rose-colored glasses. And she would take them off and see, in fact, we were not sunburned. So when we insist on seeing the world through our own lens, maybe we are someone who is irritable and sees other people around us as being the problem. Or someone who's so used to bargaining and making deals that we see even God as interacting with a bargain with us. Maybe this Shabbat we can ask ourselves, hold on, through what lens am I looking at the world? Is everyone around me sneaky or irritable? Or do I need to remove my own glasses? And if everyone around you maybe looks like they are the problem, maybe you are projecting some of your own sense onto them. And like you would say to my mom, don't worry, take off the sunglasses. Shabbat. We'll continue with Mari. It's me, it's you. Yes, Mari, page 39A. Please rise to your feet.
Page 40. And 43A. 45, actually. Pray that God keep us safe from enemies, disease, violence, hunger, and death. Shmor Teitenu Leinu Hashamet Havar Process Nishkashuna Kador Patarnai Hafarasu Kashalom and Makasalam Yerushalayim. You rise, page 46. Veshamru Lene Yisrael Et HaShabbat Masot Et HaShabbat Vedorotam Derizolam Veshamru Lene Yisrael Et HaShabbat Masot Et HaShabbat Vedorotam Derizolam Stay in Israel till the Olam Oti Ve'olam Veshamru Lene Yisrael Et HaShabbat Masot Et HaShabbat Vedorotam Derizolam Tishesh Masarna Tishmayim Ve'et Haaretz Veshamru B'nai Yisrael Et HaShabbat Masot Et HaShabbat Vedorotam Derizolam Yamash Shabbat V'inachash Yikadav Shmei Rabbi Yamad Yirach V'Yitevim Yikmachutei V'Yifon Rum Yomefon Ruchayim All Beit Yisrael V'Hagala U'Gizman Karim Baruch Yishmeira V'Mevora Ve'olam Ve'omaya Yifarach V'Yishtavach V'Mernesei V'Yavash Nikrashach V'Elam V'Brakatar V'Shiratar V'Shiratar V'Nefemata Yavina Ve'alma V'Meru Pages 47 through 52, Psalm 25. still in your private prayer, please do you guys do, otherwise please follow the answers with you. Vayahu Hashemayim ve'aretz v'kol tzedakah vayechavim v'yomashkim melachto asher asa vayishpat v'yomashkim melachto asher asa v'yivarach Elohim et yom hashiv'i v'yikadesh asa v'yivashavani melachto asher bara Elohim asod Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Eloheinu v'Avraham v'Yitzchak v'Yaakov Well, Magadol, Hadibrayam, Neshamayim, Ba'aretz, Magen, Avraham, Yitzchak, Ephraim, Eitim, Lemamara, Bael, Hakadol, Shem, Kramon, Aminiach, Le'ama, Yom Shabbat, Kashav, Ivan, Rasal, Le'aniach, Lahem, Ivan, Rasal, Le'aniach, Lahem, Le'vanav, Nahor, V'Rava, Fakad, Me'oder, Nishma, Le'chol Yom Tamid, Me'on, HaZerachot, Me'ahod, Nahor, Adon, Hashalom, V'kadesh HaShabbat, V'rachim, V'yam V'yusha, V'am V'yusneonet, V'efer, V'maaseh, V'maaseh, V'reishit. Eloheinu, Elokei Avosheinu, V'ereinu Chateinu, V'rasheinu V'mitzvotecha, V'sefer V'Toratecha, Sameinu Mitulecha, V'sameinu Mituatecha, V'tahelimeinu, Ve'atecha V'emen, Ve'adireinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ahavu Ratzon, Shabbat HaShechad, V'Nukva Yisrael, Ve'kadesh Shemecha, Baruch Adonai, Ve'kadesh HaShabbat, Ve'david HaShemei Rabban, Ve'yamati Rabba, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Tevorah, Ve'olam Ve'omayah, Yisparach, Yiparach, Yisparach, Yisparach, Amen. Take us to Amen. Yehi Shmor Shmei Rabba Baruch, Amen. Cause us not to say Shalom, Alim Kosavim Merah, Amen. This is on page 55. Anyone want to come about the juice? Anyone like grape juice? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haolam asher kiddushanu v'tzivanu v'ratzavanu v'shavak kosher v'ratzani v'lonezikon l'maseh Bereshit. Yom tefillah nivra'ei kodesh zecher tzivah Yisrael. V'anu v'charta v'yosanu kidashta v'kohanim v'shavak kodeshecha v'ahavu ratzon v'yimaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Hashem. 56. Elaine. Before we recite Warner's Cottage, I want to mention the yard sites we're observing the day that ended as well, remembering Rose Bennett, Hilda Broom, Martin Kovitz, and Jeanette Lipsitz, and Francis Mahler. Warner's Cottage, page 58. Yikadal, Yikadash, Rabah, Beaman, Yirak, Rute, Beamlik Mahute, the Bayikon, Yomekon, Kais, Oli Israel, Magala, Isman Karim, Romain, Ishmer, Alvora, Kedal, Yiparak, Shabbat, Yipar, Yisroman, Yisnase, Yikadar, Yikale, Yikawal, Krishna, Brevu, Laila, Nipo, Iraka, Shiraka, Shiraka, Nemunata, Tamina, Milam, Romain, Yehesh, Lamaraham, Yishmaya, Kaim, Alim, Beakol, Israel, Romain, Shalom. Please be seated. Some mazel tovs to Isabella Jane Adler and Mart and Jason, and grandparents Linda and Mitch and Linnell and John Meyerhoff on her bat mitzvah this Shabbat afternoon. Mazel tov to Natalie and Snir Geuli on the birth of a son, Liam, Ziv, Joshua Geuli. Also mazel tov to the Greens on the birth of a daughter. Mazel tov, welcome to new members Raisa and Joseph Kirsten, and with great sadness announced the passing of Manny Hartman, son of Ben Hartman, brother of Sid and Max, and grandson of Marcia and David. Some things that are coming up. One is, and this is actually more of an audience participation thing, we have been thinking about having some earlier Shabbat service days during the winter, because there are families who would like to come, but 7:45 is a late time to start dinner. Clearly the people who are here are the people who like 6:30 the best out of all the times. So please, after Hamosi, let's schmooze for a minute. For some of us, it may not make a difference whether we're a little earlier. For some of us, it might. But please think about, we're going to try a couple of 6 or 5:30 services over the course of between now and March. We will announce it frequently, but be on the lookout and let me know your thoughts, because as much as I love everyone here, I don't want to leave you guys out, but there are people who have said we would come, but we got to feed our kids before it, so we can see how we can handle that. Apropos of that, next week services are at 6:30, but there will be a 5:30 service for families with kids 5 and under. Tomorrow, December 8th, BT Lab will be dismissed early. There will still be the Club 345 scavenger hunt at 11:30. At 4 o'clock, B'nai Torah women will be preparing for their Hanukkah parties with a sampler of dips and mocktails at a parent's house. Sparkle Sandy Springs, there's a parade at 6 and some kind of festive thing at 6:50. We'll be there giving out gelt and whatnot. Our Hanukkah festival is on Sunday the 15th from 10:30 to noon. There'll be crafts, games, tikkun olam, latkes, sukhaniyot, and more. And in 2 weeks, our adults in their 20s and 30s are invited to a special Shabbatika dinner at B'nai Torah in advance of Hanukkah. And that will be 6:30. Rabbi Bright is putting that together. Our bloomers are celebrating Hanukkah and Christmas in the traditional fashion with a Chinese food lunch, gelt, and dreidels on December 24th. Just a reminder, services tomorrow morning at 9, tomorrow evening at 5. Anything I left out?
Yeah. Sunday here from 3 to 5:30 is the it's JCLP, which is going to be a get-together for Jewish people who grew up in small towns anywhere in the country and the world, to come together and just schmooze and learn a little bit about genealogy, but just talk about what it was like to grow up in a small town when we made it as one of the only handful of Jewish families. So it was great fun. Last year was the first one, and it's a really important mission that they're doing to help people in small towns that still have maybe a synagogue left, but they don't really have enough people to support, so what do they do with it? But anyway, 3 to 5:30 on Sunday.
Like John Cougar Mellencamp sang. All right, we're going to finish. I grew up in a small town. Like, look, I think that was the second small town.
You're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Page 5.
Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Good. Baruch Adonai, Shema Kol Tilat Minaret.